Righty, so we're continuing our introduction to psychology, and so now we're going to introduce the idea of psychological studies. And I did lump the theories in because there's only one lesson in introducing theories, so it's all kind of combined in the same unit. So really, the question here is we're asking, how do we know what we know? Right? Where does it come from? So we're introducing the idea of the evidence in the studies. So these are the lessons that are going to occur in this topic. So today we're going to look at variables and relationships. So introducing the idea of IVs and DVs. So we've looked at the definition of psych. And now we're looking at studies and theories. So starting off really basic, the difference between an independent variable and dependent variable. Now, hopefully your students have been well taught, you've got a good curriculum, they'll know what these are, go into the course. My students are always iffy, right? So they need refreshing. Start off, nice, simple true-false quiz. I like to get them to pick a side of the room, so I delegate one side is true, the other side is false, just to get them up and moving, a bit of movement. I also get them to point first before they walk to avoid conformity effects. All right, bit of chalk and talk, breaking it down what these factors mean. Independent variable and dependent variable, right, giving a couple of examples here, and then making it a bit more concrete, introducing some of the famous studies, so looking at conformity with Ash, choosing the one where they varied how many people in the group, and the Piliavin, this is a bystanderism on the train. I couldn't find a free image to use bystander on a train. You can if you want. And I use a condition here if they had the actor, if they appeared drunk or if they appeared injured, and then how they were offered help. Loftus and Palmer, that famous one, and then Bandura, and explain these. So just using these concrete examples to explain IVs and DVs. And this is important. Here's just a bit of a summary. Right, and so maybe tap into some prior knowledge. I'm sure they've conducted experiments in science before, and so get them to think about if they remember what any of their IVs and DVs were from those. Now, because in the workbook, there's a list of studies, and they have to identify what the independent and dependent variable is, and then just they show you when they're finished. And hopefully after doing that, they should be able to answer this question. If they can't, there's a bit more information in the textbook. But you see a really simple introduction to independent and dependent variables. Okay. Now, if they didn't finish, they can complete that for homework. So, again, you might find that your students are, you can skip this lesson if you think it'll be too easy for them, or skip a lot of the chalk and talk and start with the activity with identifying the variables if you like. Feel free to, of course, adapt, amend, use as you see fit. And then we get into next, we're looking at applying conclusions. So, looking at the connection between IVs and DVs and conclusions. That's coming up next.